everybody. If you're new here, my name is Isa and I am a disabled writer and advocate. I have mitochondrial disease, so I'm an ambulatory wheelchair user. I have a service dog in training who's just like looking out the window over there. And I am currently working at Disney, but this fall I'll be starting my PhD in communication studies. And I'm very, very excited. Anyway, I wanted to start vlogging because this is kind of like a week in my life situation because I want to document this journey this summer. There's like a lot of videos or a lot of advice for like, just have fun over the summer. And I have been off of academics for 2 years. I need to get ready. I'm also super anxious in general as a person. And so I wanted to share that process. Right now, what I am working on is I'm working on getting my thesis published or getting it ready for submittal to publish. I'm working with my old advisor from my master's program. So it's my thesis that I worked on in my master's. It is a study that explores high-risk disabled individuals' experience during the pandemic, looking at like stigmatizing messages and identity management, which is a really cool, important piece, but it's taken me 2 years to get to this point because every time I open that study and look at the results, I just am taken back to everything that was going on in 2021 and everything that still is going on. And I think that's part of the issue, is that everything keeps going, keeps being bad. And it's just a really hard work to work with. But since I'm going back to school and I believe my participants deserve to be published, and so I'm working on getting that ready. I got it ready for conference and I submitted that to conference, and I won't find out until mid-July if it was approved or not. I submitted to the critical section. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, right now I'm just trying to get it ready for publishing. I'm working with my old advisor, but since I'm not a current student, it's kind of a slow process. Also because I'm like trying to get it done in the little breaks that I have and in my days off, and then half my days off are spent in the doctor's office because I'm trying to get all of my paperwork ready for school. And you have to, as a graduate teaching assistant, apparently have to submit separate things for being a student versus being employed by the university. And it's like every time I go to the doctor, I'm like, I think that's everything. And then I notice, no, it's not everything. But my department's been super nice and super just incredible. And it's just trying to get all this paperwork done. It's so much paperwork and so much work. But yeah, that's what I'm up to. Just working. I'm also trying by the end of the summer, and this is like the lowest priority for me, but I am trying to finally finish the story that I've been working on. I write fiction, I write fantasy, and this story has been haunting me since 2018. I did write a big draft of 60,000+ words in November, but it feels more like an outline to me. I don't like the writing style. I feel like there's some missing points. I feel like there's some, just some subplots that need to be better explored. So I'm working on the rewriting process. I am working on the same 2 chapters forever, but I'm hoping that as I document this process, it'll force me to just keep writing, because that's what Nano did, is that it forces you to just keep writing and keep moving no matter where you're at. Right now I'm sitting outside the nail place because I was supposed to get my nails done this Sunday with the rest of my family because it's a gift from my grandmother that she takes us every 3 weeks. And I had Sophie with me and she was just having a really rough day. And I think my anxiety was also getting very bad. And just between the 2 things, I was like, I can't be in here. I can't get my nails done today. So they were very kind enough. My family got me a gift card so I could come back and get them done. As a wheelchair user, it's just something that helps keep my nails from breaking. Otherwise, I just have broken nails all the time and it's awful. All done. It looks a lot more bright on the camera than it actually is. But there's that. Very pleased. They've made it very short, which I need for work, but it makes me a little sad because I like having longer nails. Currently, we have a tornado warning until 3 today, and it sure looks really bad outside. I grew up in Texas where tornadoes weren't like super uncommon, so I've never been super worried about it. But Florida makes me nervous because they don't have the traditional tornado alarms. They just have the alarms on your phone, really, and that's weird to me. That's honestly just very weird to me. So apparently, I thought I had to be at work earlier than I thought I did. I got to the parking lot and looked at my schedule, and I was like, oh, I'm way early. So I took a little car nap, which I do way too much. And now I need to like rush out of here so that I can try to get in before it starts pouring again. Good morning. So I got up a little bit early today because I had to get Sophie ready to go to the groomer. My family took her because they were taking all of the dogs, which was very nice. But I went back to bed for a little bit and had a nightmare about getting in a car accident. It was stupid. It was fully my fault, and the person was yelling at me, and it was really stressful. But then my friend called me, who's my roommate. I'm so excited. We're gonna be rooming together in Tampa. And we talked for a really long time about like what we want of our apartment, but also what we want for like inviting other people and chore charts and that kind of stuff. So everything so far has felt very, very good about it. It's such a weird place to be right now because of like time's just weird. All the days feel simultaneously too long and too short because I just like I want to do stuff to get ready to move, but it's too early to do anything. I have my list of things I need to buy. I have the list of things that I have. I have, you know, someone else is reviewing my thesis stuff. The only thing that I like really haven't been doing is writing my fiction stuff, which I really want to get done before the end of the summer, but it's like the lowest priority for me. Maybe I should just make that a higher priority. I don't know. It feels like I don't have enough time in the day to write like my fiction, but I have enough time in the day to just sit and feel like I'm not doing anything. So I'm having a little bit of a rough morning. I have regional today, which means that I'm going to be wandering around the property for my shift. And so I decided, since I wasn't feeling well, I'm just going to go back to bed and try to get as much sleep as possible. And my stomach has been upset this morning. And in one of my emergency runs to the bathroom, Sophie decided to eat my camera. She didn't eat all of it, she just damaged it. And it's a brand new camera, and it was a big investment, and I'm trying so hard not to be upset about it. I already feel an episode, like a depressive episode, coming anyway. I'm just having a really hard time in general, just keeping tabs on my emotions. I'm exhausted, and it was my fault. I left it somewhere that she could grab. I didn't put her away when I left the room, which I did multiple times this morning every time I had to run to the bathroom. But, yep. So the camera, I think, is not damaged in the grand scheme, and I don't think it's going to affect things. It's just frustrating because we have these really good days, and then we have the really bad days, and then I have a really bad day, and because I'm having a bad day, she's having a bad day, and that's just the way it is with service dogs and training them. And I remember this with my sister's service dog. It's just exhausting. So I decided because I was getting kind of hot and just overwhelmed that I was going to come and get some food for my break and try to work on this book. I'm rewriting the first chapter for the millionth time. I'm just having trouble with like the tone, I think, and exposition, and trying to introduce like the context in the I guess the context more than anything. Vlog it all yesterday because I just wasn't feeling well, and then I got called in early to work. I did have this whole like thing where I'm like, do I need to get a new car? Do I need to refinance my car? Do I need to do something to make my car payments cheaper? Apparently, I might have gotten a pretty bad deal on my original car, but at least my APR is not terrible. So, not doing that. I think this is just the mental illness. Anyway, I got called in early to work as well, and I was scheduled 6 hours, and they're like, hey, you want to come in early and have an 8-hour shift? And I'm like, not really, but I need the time. I need the money, especially if I'm going to be moving soon. And the hardest part about it is like trying to prepare for me to be unwell, because the move I know is going to be very stressful emotionally, physically, and so that's going to put my immune system at risk. It's going to put my mental health at risk, and that's always the way it works. Transitional periods are very difficult for me, and so trying to make that transition as smooth and seamless as possible is so important to me, and unfortunately a lot of that comes down to the financial side of things. Also, I'm not sure what my new school is, but I know my old school's pay schedule started like 3 weeks into the school, so I didn't get my first paycheck last time I was in school until like 3 weeks in, which means that I need to have essentially over a month's worth of income saved and ready to go so that I can cover at least all of my bills and minimal groceries. She's so tired. So tired. Did I wake you up? I'm sorry. Go back to sleep. So today is my Friday, and I don't have work till 5, and they're not going to, because I maybe have whined a little bit too much about it yesterday, but if I had been called in, I would say no, just because I need the rest. But it also means I don't have to leave until like 3:15, 3:30, which is almost 3 hours later than I normally leave for work. And I've been trying to figure out what I need to be doing with my morning. I already went back to bed and tried to get an extra hour of sleep. But I'm like, tomorrow I don't really have any plans. I'm thinking I should probably just dedicate the day to writing. I still haven't gotten my feedback on my thesis yet, which is 100% understandable. And my advisor who's looking over it is so busy, and she said she was going to try her best to get something right over the weekend, but it's not the end of the world, like whatever. And I have so much of my fiction stuff to work on, so maybe I can make a goal to like write through the fiction. But if I do that, that means that I need to take care of all of my chores today. And then on Wednesday, I'm going to Tampa to do all of my like tours and stuff for apartments, and call my roommate, and we're gonna talk and we'll do stuff. So that's also part of the reason why I've been like trying to get myself to sleep as much as possible, because I know that's going to be a lot. So. This is the point at which I realize why I wait till my days off to do chores. Saturday is finally here! It's actually Tuesday, but it's my Saturday, so that's the important date. Anyway, so I had done a lot of cleaning and picking up stuff yesterday, with the hopes of being able just to dedicate today all to writing and sitting down at my desk and actually getting the work done. However, when I woke up this morning, I realized I actually have to run errands, and I put away my laundry.
normally it sits in a basket for a week before I put away whatever is left because all of my dirty clothes are on the floor. So I'm already ahead of myself this week. The issue is I need to go grocery shopping and I need to go pick up shampoo and conditioner stuff, and I also need to pick up cat food. But I don't know if the cat food is on the side of town where most everything else would be most accessible. Otherwise, I have to drive like 5-10 minutes between locations instead of being all on one street. So I'm thinking I might just go to Target and get my shampoo and stuff there because there's a pet store right next to there, and then Sophie and I can do some training stuff while we're at Target, and then we will go get, and if I can't find my shampoo and things, there's like an Ulta right there, so there's like multiple locations that I can pick up what I'm looking for. And then I stop by Winn-Dixie and Aldi's because I'm gonna stop at 2 locations because I have special almonds that I really like, and I'm gonna get those for myself. So yeah, she's been in my face all morning about just wanting attention and everything. Finally get all my chores done. It's time for us to start getting ready to go. And she says, nap time. Girl. I'm actually wondering if she's pretending to be asleep right now because her eyes are open and she's watching me. But I think she might be pretending because I'm dressed. Oh, are you not? And normally I have to leave for work get ready for work about this time, and she'd have to go in her kennel. But you don't have to because we're gonna go work together.
An hour later and we finally made it to the car. Alright, so we just finished with Target. We did the pet store first. I just ran in there. I didn't even bring in my wheelchair. I think I'm in this like weird place because historically what I've done is if it's gonna be a quick in and out, I won't use anything. I'll just use the cart as like a stabilizer. If I want to wander, I'll use my wheelchair. I always use my wheelchair at Target because Target and I and my wheelchair have a very special relationship because my local Target from where I lived when I got my wheelchair was where I learned how to like maneuver and use my wheelchair. So anyway, it's just a little tiring. I'm tired and exhausted, and it's not necessarily Sophie, it's just like the in and out of the car that gets me. I was able to actually find what I was looking for. I got my almonds and my mayo, and it was on sale. I hope it's not bad, but it was only $2.64. Got some spicy mayo to add to my chicken sandwiches and some sriracha almonds to add to my goldfish because for some reason I love that kind of stuff. Anyway, so I don't have to go to Winn-Dixie and I can just go to Aldi's and then we'll head home. It's 1:30. So we got in the car around 11:30 noon, so like it's been almost 2 hours. I'm really impressed with how well Sophie did inside the Target. We're still struggling outside with the leaves because as soon as she steps outside, she's like, leaves, I need all of them. And I don't know what to do besides like just try to find a very leafy space. My mom's worked with her a lot trying to do it, but like sit in a very leafy space. But since it's April and it's getting hot in Florida, I can't really sit outside for very long. So besides that, I did try to give her some time to work on the flat leash. So I use a gentle lead with her. It's what we use with our old service animal. I prefer it as a wheelchair user because I feel like it gives me better communication with her without like choking her or causing any damage to her throat, because with a wheelchair the leash can get caught. If I have to stop suddenly, I don't ever want to be doing anything to her where she's going to get injured or have permanent injury. I know that the gentle lead also can cause whiplash, and that's something I'm trying to be very, very careful with, but the risk of whiplash to me seems less than the risk of permanent damage to her throat, and that's what I'm mostly worried about. But she hates it. She's very sensitive in the nose area, and I've tried harnesses, I've tried other things. I don't want to do a prong. I don't want to, because again, it gets back to that issue of like the pulling on her throat. But I do think that she is trainable on the flat leash. I do think that it's something that we need to work on regardless, because every dog should be able to, especially every service dog, should be able to work without the gear. Ideally, one of the weakest parts of my sister's dog is that she saw the gentle lead as a vest or a version of the vest, and so when the gentle lead came off, she was no longer working. So not only am I working on making sure Sophie is able to do public access, but also let's make sure she's doing her tasks. Let's make sure that she's focused in, because there's less, communication, less just kind of tying her down and focusing her on task at hand. So just trying to work on that. I think she did really well. I forgot my treats in the car, so for not having any treats and just going off of Snuggles, I was very proud of her.
So tired. So I got home and brought everything in. My sister Beck helped me put everything away, which I'm so thankful for, but now I'm probably gonna get a ton of it out because I meal prepped. I had the salads last week during the work week, but I've prepped them before, so everything was ready to go, and I just grabbed the dish and go. And that was super nice to be able to do, and so I'm wondering if I should just meal prep this week. That means I have to do dishes. I'm so tired. This is where I wish I had a more accessible kitchen where it would be more reasonable for me to use my wheelchair, because I can use a stool, but that also means anytime that I have to move around, that I'd have to move the stool. I think we got a meal prep. So much for writing today.
So it's 8:30, I prepped my lunches, I got 3 days ready and then some leftovers, so I'll figure out those last 2 days when they come up. And then had some dinner and watched Dinosaur with my mom on Hulu. It was very good. It's about a autistic paleontologist and her free spirit younger sister who decides that she's going to get married to a man that she met 6 weeks ago. And it's very funny. I identify a lot with the main character. In fact, my mom at one point, when we first were watching it last week, was like, that sounds just like you. And then I watched it, we rewatched the first episode with my sisters because we're like, you gotta watch this. And my one sister is like, when did they turn Issa into a TV character? So, very validating. I believe it was written by actually autistic individual, and I believe the character is played by an actually autistic individual. So it was just a very refreshing story where autism isn't like the main heart of the story, but it is it does impact the character's experience. So very cool, very refreshing. Also didn't talk about this yet, but I finished 2 books this week. One of them was To Let Them Burn by Camila Cole. It's like a queer fantasy romance kind of thing, YA. It was fun, it was good. And then the second one is an author that I don't like, but I'm reading it with some people at work, so it's not great. And it's not even worth mentioning the name of. So, but I finished it. Now I can go to brunch. I've earned my place at brunch. I hate this. I'm growing out my bangs right now, so excuse the messy hair. I'm trying to figure out ways to deal with it. I'm gonna cut them again. I am gonna get bangs again after the summer, but I've been cutting my own hair for the last 6 months to a year-ish, and so I'm growing it out so that someone else can actually do it correctly before I go back to school, but it means that I have awkward bangs until then. I have to get up early tomorrow morning, but right now I'm just trying to get my Notion stuff in order so that I have a place to write notes about the places we're visiting tomorrow, because that is coming up. And I feel like I'm just constantly preparing my brain for, we're going to Tampa, we're going to look at apartments, it's going to be physically exhausting and mentally exhausting, and I'm going to end up going to work. I have a 12-hour shift on Thursday, which is my Monday, and I just got to be prepared for that turnaround. It's not going to be the most pleasant, but we'll get there. That was my week, and thank you for joining me for this week in my life. It feels like it was very boring and uneventful, but I am going to be vlogging tomorrow, and that's just going to be a whole day of Tampa stuff,
and it's going to be just sharing my experience. We're going to do a lot more wheelchair stuff. I am really nervous because I'm going to be bringing my wheelchair and Sophie, and just basically like, if you're going to be not nice to me, let's get it out of the way before I sign a contract to stay here. So keep an eye out for that, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you for watching.